Water is the foundation of our ecosystem. I mean, supplying food as far as fish, entertainment, what we drink. Our bodies are made up of X% of water. If it's pollution coming in, it's got to be pollution going out.
The water quality, the air quality is always been great here, I think.
Have you seen any changes in the lakes that you fish at?
Oh yeah, can't hardly catch a fish anymore.
Why is that?
I don't know. It's like they're dying out or something.
Well, I think for the most part, they've cleaned up the rivers and lakes really well. Air quality is much better than it used to be.
As voters, we have to put into place advocates for us in state and federal governments that will maintain some vigilance over the corporations, allow them to make a reasonable profit, but not exorbitant profit, and maybe put an excise tax on the profits and then use that excise tax to reinvest in the environment, either to clean it up or to maintain a certain minimum acceptable standard, whether it's the air, water, or land.
You have to look long-term at the issue. You can't look too short-sighted. You're going to have to realize that everybody is going to have to share the cost of the environment.
If we don't watch our resources now, we're not going to have any resources to give to our children and to their children.
For the most part, I think they've done a pretty good job with the environment.
On the Clean Water Legacy Act that passed last session, what do you think of that? The governor says it was just a down payment.
Well, the problem with the environment is everybody claims they've done a great job, but then the question is asked, why aren't we doing anything? We've got 40% of our lakes right now that are impaired. That's the best estimate. I think we've only, the Clean Water Act was passed in 1972, I believe. It was renewed thereafter. The Clean Water Act mandates that every state go out, number one, evaluate your water. And in Minnesota, we got a lot of water to evaluate. And number two, identify the water that's impaired. And number two, come up with a plan to remediate it. You know, the Supreme Court recently had to tell a couple of municipalities, listen, you can't be going and doing this cap and trade type of system when it comes to sanitation, because you are continuing to impair water. And we're not complying with the Clean Water Act. We passed the Legacy Act, that's fine, but we didn't fund it. And you got to put your money where your mouth is when it comes to the environment. Frankly, the governor did not fund it. He's never funded it. He talks a good game. The issue on the Clean Water Act is this. On the one hand, a lot of people believe in what's called polluter pays. You put a fee on everything that pollutes our water, and that revenue comes in and it's dedicated to cleaning up our water system. There's some logic to that.
We have done a good job in doing things like we got the most certified forest land in the country. We put Glacial Ridge Preserve on near Camp Ripley. We got the biggest CREP, Conservation Reserve Enhancement Program in the state's history. We've added wildlife management areas. We're doing good in terms of getting more public lands preserved in cooperation in part with nonprofits. One area that I think is strained and we need to make progress on is the clean water legacy. And we got huge pride and asset in our lakes, waters, rivers, and streams. And we made a nice step, but an incomplete step, towards getting our waters cleaned up. We got too many impaired waters. There's too much stress on them, not just from people using them, but from pollution, runoff, and polluters. And so one of the things we have to do in the next legislative session is get the next chunk of clean water funding for our state.
Well, gee, I don't know. I mean, here are the facts. The facts are the number of identified polluted waters in the state has doubled in the last 6 years. Is that leadership? The Clean Water Legacy Act was put together by a very diverse group, very interesting coalition 3 or 4 years ago. It only got passed in an election year. Is that leadership on the environment? The quality of our roads is worse than it's been in 20 years. Is that leadership on our state's fundamental infrastructure? I don't buy it. I think we've had just the reverse. I think the governor's been sitting on his hands. He's not been getting the job done. The cost for government has been going up under his watch, and yet the quality of our environment has been going down. I think it's a bad deal for Minnesotans.